Hey everyone, it's Ansi. How are you all doing today? Wherever you're in the world right now, I hope that you're doing well. Today, I'll be doing some practice with watercolors. I've always really enjoyed watching other people's watercolor process videos, so I wanted to make one of my own as well. Let's take a look at the art tools that we'll be using today. The paper that I'm using is the Mossery Watercolor Sketchbook with the 300 GSM paper. I actually use this paper for both watercolor and also Copic marker art. The paint that I'm using is Holbein watercolor. For brushes, I use the size 10 round brush from Curry's, the size 5 round brush from Raphael, and also a water brush pen. I keep all of my fine liners in a box like this. It actually was a box for keeping chocolates, but the box was so nice I didn't want to throw it away even after we finished all of the chocolates. So anyways, for this illustration for line art, I used the Copic Multiliner in sepia. So we're going to draw some food today, and I really wanted to try and use watercolor to render the texture of pastries. So you can see here that I've already done a pancake and a strawberry cake, and now we're gonna paint a roll cake. So first we're going to color in the cake with this color called Chambray No. 1 from Holbein Watercolor. It's a bit of a pastel yellow, which I think is very suitable for drawing things like cake or butter or like food in general. I'm not going to dip my brush into the palette again to gather more paint. I'm just gonna use up all of the paint that's already stored in the belly of this brush. Next, we're going to color the outside of the cake with a color called burnt sienna. And we will just put on one thin layer as a base layer for now, and then after that dries we will put on another layer and also add in some details. So far I'm still only using one brush, and this is the size 10 brush. I quite like the size 10 brush because it's very versatile. I can both cover a large surface area with paint and also use only the tip to work on some smaller areas or put in some detail. So before I move on, I'm going to clean my brush a bit, and after I clean it, I'm going to press the brush gently against a piece of cloth to absorb any excess water. So next we're going to color the cherry on top of the roll cake with a color called Piro Red. I hope I pronounced that correctly because I'm not quite sure what Piro is. The paint right now is looking a little bit diluted, and I think that's because there's too much water, so I'm gonna press my brush gently against a spare towel that I have to get rid of the excess water. Halfway through, I decided to sort of darken the color of the cherry a bit, so I mixed in a sort of purplish red color called carmine. To add some highlights to the cherry, I'm adding a small amount of water using the water brush pen. Next, we're going to paint the stem on the cherry by mixing a brown and a green color together. I'm still using the size 10 brush because I'm too lazy to change brushes, but the tip is actually perfect for painting the stem. I'm going to paint the cream inside the roll cake using a super watered down lavender color to create a light transparent texture. I'm finally going to switch to a smaller brush. With this smaller brush and also a darker brown paint, I'm going to create some light texture on the surface of the cake. The brush that I'm using is the Raphael series 8402 in size 5, and I really like using this brush for doing detailed, precise watercolor work. So for this final part, I'm going to clean up the line art with Copic Multiliners. And for lining food, I try not to do super smooth lines because usually food has a sort of uneven texture. So I try to do a little bit of a squiggly line here and there to show that bumpy texture of food. As I work on the texture of the cake, I thought to myself, would anyone actually notice all of these little details that I've put into the drawing? In some ways, it doesn't really matter what other people see or don't see when they look at this drawing, because I'm adding in all of these details because the process of doing it makes me happy. As long as I'm personally satisfied with the final result, then I think that's all that matters. This is the first time I've done a watercolor process video, so if you have any feedback for me, please do leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching as always, and take care. See you next time.